The springs were an incredible life-saving find. However, the minerals in the salty water caused Stuart and his men many stomach problems. Resourceful as ever, Stuart had an answer.
This big billy can here is a water heater. It's ideal for my purposes because it has a spout. The way it works is it has this big funnel. It's a really good idea. The only way you can get water out is to put cold water in. So you put cold water in, it goes to the bottom, and it forces hot water out of the side pipe. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the water to the boil, and then I'm just going to keep it simmering. I don't want it bubbling and spewing salt water out through that pipe. I'm going to attach to that a pipe so that I can condense the steam and get fresh drinking water. Now, I've brought a piece of plastic hose pipe with me. I've just made a coil there. The idea is that steam will feed into this pipe. I'll have this suspended, and I'm going to put a bandage around this and make that wet. And the wind blowing across the bandage will cause evaporation, which will cool the air inside these tubes. So as the steam comes in, it condenses, forms into a liquid and runs down, and that should be fresh drinking water.
Of course, in order to use the still, you have to have found water in the first place. Stuart was lucky to find such a permanent source of water in the Mound Springs. Many other explorers seeking new pastoral lands and gold and minerals weren't so lucky. There are plenty of chilling reminders of this.
You know, you can never take desert travel lightly, and nowhere is that more the case than here in Australia. At the moment I'm inside the Royal Geographical Society of South Australia. I've come here because there's an interesting collection of artefacts from expeditions of the past. Simple things like this water canteen that was found in the desert. But scratched in the outside of this tin is the last testament of William Coulthard. He scratched these words as he lay dying in the desert of dehydration. It's difficult to read now, but it says, "I never reached water. I do not know how long it is since I left Scott and Brooks. But I think it Monday, leading Pomp his horse to live on his blood. I took his horse to look for water, and the last thing I can remember is pulling the saddle off him and letting him go. Until now, it's not good. Long it may weather 2 or 3 days, I do not know. I am not sure. My tongue is sticking to my mouth, and I see what I have wrote, and know, as this is the last time I may have of expressing feelings blind, although feeling exude for want of water, my eyes to my tongue, I can see no way I get help."
This land also claimed the lives of 2 of Australia's best-known explorers, Burke and Wills. They went head-to-head with Stuart when he eventually decided to employ all of his acquired knowledge to the task of crossing Australia. They were chasing fame and fortune offered to the first Europeans to cross the continent. The government was keen to find a route for an overland telegraph linking north to south, improving trade and communications. They took a very different approach to Stuart, taking everything that they thought they needed with them. This amounted to 20 tons of equipment, 27 heavily laden camels and 23 horses. They even brought along a wooden dining table. But the desert would claim their lives. Less than a year after setting off, they were down to just 3 men and 2 camels. They had practically no bushcraft knowledge, and unable to process the food they found properly, Burke and Wills perished.
Well, let's see how this has been going. It's been burning now the fire for 4 hours, and the difficulty with this technique is always here. It's always in the cooling.